My bag. My brother. I got your bag. You can tell him. Bag. You my brother.
How the intro go? The Band of Brothers podcast show. I'm your boy, Dude Boy, and I'm with my brother, G Money.
What's up?
And we want to welcome you to the neighborhood, what we call the brotherhood. This is where we band together as brothers, that we encourage, inspire, and uplift each other so that we all can win as men in this thing that we call life. What's up, G Money?
What's up, man? Where you been?
Man, hey, man. I don't even know. Get into all of that, man. But how you been?
I'm living good, man. Been off this week, so getting refreshed, man. Getting refreshed is all I can say. I'm sure enjoying it, man. I can tell you that.
Hey, enjoy every minute of it, man.
Yeah. So, just celebrating, man, anniversary and my birthday all in the same week. So, it's been, I always be looking forward to this every year, So,
Hey, man.
Yeah, man.
A lot of stuff for men to talk about, man. But I got a topic for you today, G. You ready?
What you got, man, with all this excitement going on around us? What you got, man?
All right, man, let's get it like this, man. Oh, yeah, one thing that we missed out on, man. Great topic with the chat with Bozeman and Death, man. The Black Panther and all that. So, with the topic today, I want to talk about this, man. Let's talk about heroes, superheroes, right? What are they good for? And I want to compare them versus role models and what are they good for? And then I want to take those two, if we have enough time, and to challenge ourselves enough to talk about mentors and the difference in between the three. So we got superheroes or heroes, if you have a hero, versus role models. We can define them and we can talk about, are they needed? And we can take those two and challenge them from mentors. And with the same question, if they need it, what they need to. I have a complex mind to why I come with these three things. What do you think? And we can start with the superhero, man.
Yeah, you showed it complex that, man.
Complex, man.
Oh, it's gonna be interesting because what's interesting is I never in my life thought of actually mixing up the three to actually put them on separate pedestals to actually say that there's a difference. So it's gonna be exciting to kind of dive into this. But I guess we can start with a superhero, man.
Yeah.
Superheroes. Let's start defining what it is, man. So you got particular types of superheroes. They come about basically mainly through the invention of comics that people used to read back in the day. That's where mainly the origins of the superhero actually comes from, mainstream superheroes. Both large companies had their stars through the comics, Marvel and DC. There are others, but those are the two main ones, to be exact. But hey man, when I think of superheroes, man, I've done a little research on it, because it's interesting to see how these superheroes came about. But let's deal with the first ones that actually pretty much came on the scene, or some of the first ones. I don't know if they the exact first ones, so any of our listeners that may know a little bit more than we do on this topic, you can always chime in.
Okay.
But,
Yeah. We can talk about some what I want to get into. And I'll read that definition real quick. A superhero, superheroine is a stock character that possesses abilities beyond those of ordinary people, who typically uses their power to help the world become a better place, or are dedicated to protecting the public and stopping evil. Superhero fiction is a genre of fiction that is centered on such characters, especially in American comic books, since the 1930s, and later Hollywood films, as well as Japanese media, including, I don't know what the Japanese word is, so I ain't even gonna try. But so the complex is the idea of why I want to say superheroes is because in our era of growing up of being boys, we seen superheroes. We even though we knew they was fictional beings or fictional characters, we knew that we knew there was what, a good guy and a bad guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we knew that the good guy was gonna always what, win. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though you already know that whoever it was, the cartoon character, whatever, you already knew they was gonna win. That wasn't your main concern to watch it. It was still interesting to watch, because usually in our time growing up, there was a moral value that was taught inside the episode,
Mm-hmm.
or some kind of character that was, I say, characteristic of the hero that was emphasized. That makes sense?
Characteristics of and that's basically you along my thought process. For the main part, man, origins of superheroes basically came from being humanized. So basically you had a Superman that was, what's his name, Kent Clark or whatever his name was, right? You had Batman, who was Bruce Wayne. So you had these people persona being regular human beings, right? Or living regular human lives.
Right.
To actually be able to transform into a whole nother persona of a being that has capabilities beyond the person whom they normally was, or who they normally live their life as. So I think that came with it as really capturing the idea of that idea, capturing the minds of humans to actually get into something like that, to look at themselves and identify themselves with every superhero that actually comes abroad. I think that's where they generate a lot of their fan base, a lot of their money, being commercialized, is how they can get a certain group of people to identify and to see themselves possibly as that superhero. It even opened the floor to actually women having their own superheroes, in which they're, from Wonder Woman to Marvel actually releasing Captain Marvel. So, I get what you're saying on that.
So let's just go down some of the superheroes that was out when our cartoon that we kind of grew up with, and let's just break down some of their characters, and let's just see what's there. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Wonder Woman. That was one. That was a female, but what was her strengths and what was her ability that made her great?
She had super strength for a woman, man, to be an exact, man. But she had those weapons. What is those bracelets she had? Or that shield she had, which was made from a certain type of metal that's not found around on Earth, kind of similar to what Captain America and Marvel universe actually has. But her resilience, and strength, basically, actually made her, a lot who she was, to not be the persona of being vulnerable. Like a lot of women actually see themselves in a world of men. So you had a woman that actually could go toe to toe with a man who really, you can't really look at Wonder Woman and say, you know what, she's the lesser of the superheroes. In actuality, she was up there as, one of the top ones, when you consider DC comics. So I think she paved the way a lot for a woman. I'm not sure if there ever been a woman superhero before her that you can remember of. I don't think. I think she was like probably the first one, huh?
That I can. Well, I give you a cartoon character. That was, I think it was She-Ra, the He-Man sister or something like that.
Oh, okay. It went. Took it back now, man.
Hey, man. Hey. But with a cartoon character, She-Ra was pretty much the same as Wonder Woman. She was kind of she was a female version of He-Man who fought for good over evil or whatever. And she had her weapons of selection that made her, great.
Yeah.
I just remember, and then I think He-Man was probably our favorite at one time. You know what I'm saying? With He-Man, he had the sword, the shield. He had the little cowardly lion that became a battle cat when he, power came up on him or whatever. He-Man became this great warrior, kind of almost like Hercules. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you had that, and he was always fighting against Skeletor, who was kind of his nemesis.
Mm-hmm.
But ain't that what they call the bad guy?
Yeah, nemesis.
Yeah.
Nemesis.
Villain.
Yeah.
So, even though you knew He-Man was gonna win all the time, but it always had that moral value of, fighting good, doing the right thing. Then he always had an after school message at the end of the show and all that for the commercial come on. So, what's another one, man? I know that ain't the Marvel and DC comic one, but that was on.
Oh, they're cool. We might as well throw in the Thundercats, man. Might as well throw those guys in there. From Panthro, man, to
Leonardo.
Leo, right?
Leonardo.
Yeah, man. They
I don't remember all of them. I remember the show. I don't remember all the details of the show.
Yeah, I mean, just like with He-Man, he had a sword too that kind of amped him up a bit and gave him somewhat of some powers to call on.
He had the claw, didn't he?
Yeah, he had the claw, but he had that sword that he look into. The eyes look into.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that guy grow every time he say Thundercat. He said about three times, and the sword continues to grow. So you get to that part where he's like, oh, you messed up then. You don't want to be on the other side of that hole right there, man. But I used to love the Thundercats, man. But again, I see we have this trend to where the character wasn't as strong and had to transition into this being. You know what I mean?
So that's what I want to get into. Where are the superheroes for the kids today? What cartoons now are superheroes? What shows are out there that give kids the desire to want to be good, do good, win in situations like those characters gave us?
I'll say this, man. They're gonna look quite different than our superheroes. you know, in one generation, you could look at Pokemon. Now, I can't get too much into Pokemon. I don't know a lot about it, but for at some point in a generation, you could probably say that those played as superheroes for that generation.
What is superhero in a Pokemon?
Well, you had got the guy's name, the main character who had Pikachu, but he always going up against, you know, some type of villains that actually want to gain the Pokemon for themselves and for their own game. He was more of a balanced character, if I ain't mistaken. Pokemon fans, forgive me if I'm wrong, but from my understanding, I think he was more of a balance to where he had an idea where he wanted to be a great Pokemon trainer, but didn't want to actually disrupt the ecosystem by having them for his own gain and, you know, for their own, you know, put them in servitude and all of this. Now, I don't know a lot about it, but there was a good versus evil type concept there where you had corporations, you know, that wanted the Pokemon for their own gain. And he was kind of fighting against that. I think he kind of went into.
I don't think there was no superhero. And then not only that, that was in like what 2010.
It came out about 2010. It started to make a research in the recent years. I think 2018. I think it started making a research. I don't think anything out there like what me and you had when we was growing up. G.I. Joes to He-Man, Thundercats, even the Superman, Batman. I mean, obviously they're keeping alive the Marvel comics. They are keeping those alive. You do have.
I ain't talking about those of our generation. I'm talking about what superheroes that your kids take heed to or watch or
So you're not talking about like a remake. I mean,
talking about a remake. Superman, Batman.
That's about it, bro. That's about it. I don't know anything else out there. I don't know anything else out there.
That's my point. So if our kids don't have, because in a lot of that stuff, even when it came to Superman versus Lex Luger or whatever, there was moral principles inside of these stories that made you want to root for Superman. There was things about Batman that made you want to root for Batman. Now, it ain't, you really ain't just gonna want to be the bad guy. Nobody really want to just be the bad guy. It just kind of happened, if you get what I'm saying. Like when you were a kid, you automatically see the superheroes or whatever, and it made you want to root for the good guy. That was a moral litmus test inside of you that made you root for the good guy. You get what I'm saying? That made sense. You get what I'm saying about the superhero thing? Listen, to me, I'm thinking that there's something valuable that was instilled inside of us that these kids are not getting. And I'll move on. So let's get into any more superheroes you want to mention.
Well, I got none, but here's the thing I say to that. What do you say to a kid that don't know superheroes, but they introduce a version of Spider-Man for them today, which is in cartoon form, but you don't think that Spider-Man transcends our generation to become a superhero of their generation today? Because they are very well aware. I mean, they do have cartoons that are very different from the cartoons me and you seen, but they are Spider-Man cartoons, same concept. What do you say about that, though?
They're not the same.
Why you say that, man?
The ones that are transitioned, they transition to fit this culture. That's where we have they have gotten off track. Like the Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man, the little kid. They even got a black kid in Spider-Man. Am I
Yeah,
right?
Miles.
And I don't have a problem with
Yeah,
that because
Miles.
whatever. But my point is, they have transitioned to make it fit today's culture.
Hmm.
Okay, and I'll just leave that at that.
Leave it at that.
If they're more concerned about getting the icon of selling the image more than having the image being of value morally.
Yeah, right. I can see where it's make. Yeah.
All right, let's get into Black Panther. Black Panther with the superhero. I think that's probably one recent everybody can relate to, right?
Hmm.
We was talking about, and first of all, let's go ahead and pay the respect to Chadwick Boseman, for him leaving and not here with us no more.
Yeah,
And he
kind of sudden too, man. Hey,
played their role to the T, set the standard, set the bar real high. And that's him is like one reason what bring the thought of talking about superheroes, because the dude off the camera, from what you research him now, you find out he was just a great dude, just as he were on the camera, just as he were playing the Black Panther. Like, this dude was very inspiring to a lot of people around him, inspirational.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he didn't get all the takes that he wanted when he wanted them. They kind of came late, and they came in bunches, and he killed them, man.
Yeah.
Some roles that he played in, man. So big shout out to that dude. But let's talk about the Black Panther now. All right. Him being not with us now. He's not with us no more. What say you happened to the next Black Panther movie?
Well, me and you have our debates on this one. One of the few things.
They are making another Black Panther movie, right?
Yeah, they got it slated, but this one kind of put them in an interesting spot. But my opinion is that they will move on. They will find someone else to play the spot. The movie is slated 2 years out. I don't see no problem with them pushing it 3 years out if possible. But I think that they gonna take another shot at it. Do I think it's gonna be a bigger success? I ain't say that. What I did say is that I think it's gotten too big. It's too much a part of the MCU as it is. I'm of the opinion that they will make it. They will go on with the movie.
So the first movie was a good success.
It was a great success. It was phenomenal. I mean, like the money they made from that movie, the only thing to basically come close to it is the Avengers, and I think Spider-Man somewhat in the numbers. I don't think Marvel even thought that they was going to get that type of success out of it, but it blew up.
So what do you think most people got out of the movie?
Well, you got to think about it. I mean, let's get to it, and don't want to basically a lot of our Caucasian fans actually and listeners actually saw that movie as well, but pitching it to a black people when you're on the top of the food chain and you're calling Caucasians colonizers, and you're the ones that's actually, hey, living behind the scenes, and people think you ain't it, but like you really don't want none of this, period. Just having that swag about ourselves, I think that fed a hungry black people, man, and why so many of us flocked to that movie.
So you feel like it gave the black culture significance?
It did, which can be dangerous too, but it did. To answer your question, I think it did.
What did it do for you?
Me, man, it reminded me pretty much that I do too, just like any other race, come for greatness. Um, Anybody else of a different race, the countries that they come from, you know, we know they had kings and queens there. Well, the country I also come from, wherever my bloodline leads, comes from kings and queens there as well. It just puts me in the same playing field to remind me that I'm in the same playing field with any other human here. It also reminded, also what I think it did very well was the struggle between Africa and African Americans. If you really look at it, that's really what it was. They kind of depicted the African American as the villain through what's his name? What's the guy's name? Played Creed. Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan, right?
Yeah.
They, you know, they depicted the African American through him as the villain to the African, which was Bozeman, as, you know, the good fellas. Or even the lady, what's the lady name? She's real popular. Played on the side fighting with him and all. Not good with actors, man. But, you know, that was the interesting point. And the interesting point where I think that, you know, they could thrive on that by depicting the African American as the villain is because of so much of the hatred and anger that we have in ourselves from actually being in a country where we've not had access that these Africans had access to. Or
Right.
basically like they left us here to suffer without coming to save us. I think that brought it home.
I get
that brought it home. But, you know, I mean, you asking that, that's what I took from it. You know, it just basically put me in a spot to where I looked around and I said, you know what? Things that's going on in this movie are actually or could be my reality. So, you know, from
saying that, right? You got people that value themselves as Africans, as being the original bloodline in Africa. Then you got people that's are not direct of the heritage of their African ancestors. And that's what you've seen in that movie. And you've seen the two in conflict with each other. And then you've seen them come together and unite as one. I think that's a beautiful thing in the movie. And that's the brilliant part of the movie. And that's what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
So what's your favorite part in the movie? What was your favorite part of the movie?
My favorite part in the movie was actually at the end when he tried to recreate what was done wrong with his ancestors in his past. When he went and showed his sister Sherry that he had actually bought the apartment building in which his uncle had been killed by his father, right? You remember that part? And the little boys was over there playing basketball. So the setting is in Oakland, California. And the little boy walks up to him and he's asking them questions about the spaceship, saying, "Hey, is that you?" Right there is my favorite part because there it gives hope for like a little boy seeing something that a black man has accomplished that he hasn't even seen no other race have. That speaks, and people could be like, you know, it was a lot of good parts, but that was the most significant part to me. It put me in a place to where I can say, you know what, the way that little black boy looked at that black man is if, you know what, man, what greatness can come from us, man. What greatness can come from us. And basically he went back to the projects to try to recreate that and turn the hands of, how many of these kids or children being an outreach that we can actually save by opening their minds up to, a little bit of what Wakanda had. That was the most significant part for me.
Got you. So here, check this out, right? You just know how my mind thinks. So
There you go. There you go.
The iconic part of this movie to me, where you have this dude who has been elevated in the kingdom to be king. He's the Black Panther. He's starting to question himself and his rulership and what to do. Right? Mm-hmm. With all the stuff that's going on, now he has a brother, not knowing that his brother, right? That was his brother, right?
No, it was cousin. It was his cousin.
Right, yeah, cousin. That was his dad brother.
Yeah.
All right, now hear me out. Comes into the picture and he want to challenge the throne. Now here's the thing, right? This is iconic to me because in Michael B. Jordan character, he has a person that has a direct line to the heritage, but you don't even know your heritage to take it.
Yeah.
Walk in it. You don't know the honor of it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And still, yet the person that's in line, now he's questioning himself and he has the direct heritage of it. He questioning himself. Now, here's what I admire about the movie. The guy goes, and I don't believe in this kind of stuff, but he goes and summons up his father, right? And he get advice and he get leadership and he get guidance and he get reassurance of who he are and who his father was to him, for him to go and move forward to lead. See, that's, to me, that's the most iconic part of the movie, because that's what our generations are missing now. That's what we are missing in superheroes. Our kids are not getting in superheroes. That's what, and we can move over to the role model part now. See what I'm saying? Because now, as you see this guy, he has his father, he has the memory, he has the teaching, he has the guidance of him being in relationship with his father to fall back on when things get hard. But Michael B. Jordan character didn't have that. His dad wasn't there. He grew up in the streets. He was a liar. He was a hustler. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what he had to fall back on. Now you find out you have this heritage, which you, by blood, are lined up for it. But by your culture, by your who you are inwardly, confidence is not lined up to live out.
Yeah, I got what you're saying, and I want to say this too. It's within the topic though. I think that's why the movie was so successful, man, being a hit over here in America with Black folk, because we have bloodlineage that actually goes there, but we don't walk in the heritage. I mean, if we was to move there now, half of us would be lost as it is. But I think it's just the eating away of knowing that Africans could be living real, real well, and we over here suffering. And it's like, I'll be damned if that's going on. And I think just eating at that, which is deep within the psyche of Black folks over here in America, is what actually made a lot of people identify with Michael B. Jordan's character and his role as being that representation of Black America actually wanted to reclaim their heritage. And also to the point of where white folks weren't the enemy no more, but the Africans that allowed them to go into slavery were the enemies to them. So I think that way of doing that actually put it, but I get what you're saying, man. That connection as you said that, I never thought of it that way, but I don't really know other superheroes that really had a connection like the Black Panther. His father was the Black Panther before him. Superman, there wasn't a Superman before the Superman. There was an alien race.
Yeah.
Batman, there wasn't a Batman before the Batman. He was just created that way.
But hold up. Even with Superman, he have to go to wherever his little crystal place at, summons up his parents to get reassurance, get direction, to get, you know what I'm saying, when he in that down spot. Same thing with Batman. Batman has his little place. It's funny because with Batman, the idea, right? A millionaire being a superhero really don't line up if you really think about it. Most millionaires live in a bubble. Though, you know, Bruce Wayne, Wayne Enterprises and all that, he's away from everything. He don't have to put his hands on anything, really. It's more money. But then he puts on a suit, hops in his car, and go be a vigilante through the night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Concept.
You know, you're just putting the right resources in the right hands. I think that's what they're trying to get there. I mean, Marvel did the same thing with Iron Man.
I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying the idea of it. Now, but like you said, this is the thing. With superheroes, we have identified, we have been able to. Now, this hear me out. We growing up, what we have been able to do is to be able to identify heroic actions when we see them, we know them. Because of the generation that we grew up in. Nowadays, that's missing. That's right now. Name me one heroic action besides this pandemic money that our president have done.
Besides the money, man. Giving out the checks. Yeah, man. You know.
So, let's move on to the role model part.
Yeah, move on to the role model.
So let's define role model, man. Cause when I look it up, the crazy thing that comes up is a movie called Role Models. I don't even get a true definition of a role model.
Never heard of a movie called Role Model.
Oh, you never heard?
I don't think I have, man. I'm lost on that one.
It's a movie called Role Model. It's actually funny as I don't know. Yeah.
Well, that role model to me is exactly what it is. Break down the word role model. So basically, it's a model who is taking on a role, and it's a role that you aspire to want to be. I don't think it has a lot to do with what a lot of people do. I think you mentioned about mentors, which I think is the disconnect, because I think people are quick to say role models. Role models are more of, they don't know you looking at them, but because they know they in the limelight, being a model, that they actually watching their character and the way they carry themselves. So you actually know that you're mentoring people without actually speaking to them, or without actually knowing them. I think that's what a role model basically is. Just knowing that people are looking at you, you are a model, and you're playing a role. And you should watch your character and your actions based off of that. That's what I think role model is. I think they confuse it with a mentor, which is not, you know.
No, it's not. The role model, I actually got a definition for it. It's a person looked to by others as an example to be imitated. I think that's the best definition that I've come across.
Wow. Say that again, man.
It's a person looked to by others as an example to be imitated.
Imitated, wow.
This is what you don't hear it a lot about role models anymore. I think at one point, particular in time, we looked at role models to be our celebrity athletes.
Mhm.
I remember Bo Jackson. I remember Michael Jordan, um, Shaq. And it wasn't until these celebrity role models start getting into trouble or the media started exposing their troubles that them being seen as role models became to be problems or not to be role models. Right now, the average athlete doesn't look at themselves to be a role model.
So,
Yeah.
with that being said, do you think that that's a decision, like a true role model has to make the decision to actually be a role model?
That's a good question. I think if a person chooses to be a role model by um by initiating it themselves, I think that it's not a real role model. I think when you being yourself and you have that um integrity about yourself, I think you as a role model comes automatic. Is
Mm.
you don't make yourself a role model. It's people admiring you that makes you a role model. It's people that um you don't put yourself on a pedestal. It's people that puts you on a pedestal because of what they see in you. Most of the time, role models are people that carry certain I want to say pedigree without getting something in return, without
Gotcha.
doing it for something in return, without um, trying to do it for a compliment. But they are, it's who they are, it's in them. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, um, now I would say, I would challenge this. The athletes today, the best role model that I can think of right now in athletes is LeBron James.
All right, why you say that?
Because, not because of his money.
Uh-huh.
I think the guy is well rounded morally. I think he well rounded business wise. I think he well rounded amongst his peers, such as other players. And I think it transcends in all of those areas, plus in media.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know how he is at home, how he carries himself at home, but as hungry as this country is for downfall news, if it was out there, I think they would be done exposed it by
It
now.
would have been unexposed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Put it like that, man. I can't remember actually hearing anything negative on LeBron James. So you might be correct on that, my brother.
So with role models and contrary to superheroes have the powers that's fictional, but role models have characters that are non-fictional. They're visible. Um, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's something about a person that walks in integrity that um, when you leave their presence, you feel okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't feel okay and they come in, you welcome their presence. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like those are um, the people that we don't say it, but a lot of times we they are role models. Now I'm gonna ask you this: Have what are some of the role models that you have seen in your life um, that you may not have called them a role model, but you have acknowledged something about it? You don't have to say a name, but you could just say, um,
Uh, yeah. I'll say this, man. There was I could think of a few men that I've actually came across in my life in my younger days that something in your mind registers the way that they actually carry themselves or handle the situation to a point to where you actually find yourself continually going back to that and actually trying to live up to that. One in particular was actually an uncle, not taking a drink. So I grew up around about everybody in my family drank, you know. But he was a man that actually,
You mean alcohol, right? Alcohol, right?
yeah, alcohol. So, you know, he was a man that actually made it seem like that wasn't cool and that he was above that. It was just his swag with it, because I couldn't see, you know, I always thought with that amount of people drinking that it was always cool to do it that way, to do that or whatnot. But to see him in this setting and the way he said and all, and people can think of it and be like, man, that's a small thing, but it's the way. I can't even explain the way. You have to jump in my mind to actually see what I'm talking about. But it was the way with the swag he did it. It kind of gave me strength to be able to say no to a lot of the things in which I actually said no to. A lot of things in which could have probably took me down a totally different road negatively in my past. But that's just one example. And I find myself going back to that over and over and over again. And he never knew that I had basically internalized that or dissected that or studied that just that deep. Never told him in my life. Will I? Probably do. He's still living. So if we ever get together where I'm alone with him, he's much older now, but I could say it. But that's just one example. And there are many examples, but for the most part, I can say a lot of these men never knew that I was looking at them or that I noticed certain things that I keep registered in my brain. And as a man myself now, headed into the 5th decade of my life,
Yeah.
I go back to that over and over again, to try to aim, in ways in which I think I should model and handle certain situations.
Now, saying that,
how about you, man? You ain't off the hook, man.
Well, no, man, I have many.
Give an example. Man.
Sometimes people come in your life, man, they leave a mark on your life and you don't know the impact of it until later.
Uh-huh.
I seen one particular man that I know. When I was in college, I didn't live on campus. I actually lived off of campus in a condo. And in the building, it was a black family. They didn't take me in, but they welcomed me into their family. You know what I'm saying? They looked after me. I'll say that, right? And they had a young son. And to make a long story short, man, Thanksgiving I wasn't able to go home. They welcomed me to their Thanksgiving dinner, and I came and I seen this guy. He was a doctor, a black doctor. Never seen that in my life.
Mm.
So, and the family, man, they. This was in Philadelphia, man. So they was really welcoming, man. Chilling with them. They was Eagles fan, and Eagles.
That was tough to deal with.
Not then. To make a long story short, man, this guy, in my life, I seen him as a doctor. He was a doctor. They lived in a condo, which it was kind of upscale. I say that. But I admired the guy, and I admire them for being because they not only did they welcome me in, I feel like I'm talking in circles. They welcomed me in, but at the same time, I got to see him at his lowest point.
Hmm.
Somehow he got on crack.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying? And he didn't hide it from me,
Yeah.
and he battled with it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what I admire about him. He fought for his family. He fought to overcome it. He struggled with it.
Wow.
So
Man,
that was, huh?
that's from one end of a spectrum to another end of a spectrum, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
Seeing a doctor get hooked on that stuff, man.
yeah.
It kind of like, you know, being a doctor, we basically assume that with being smart to the highest levels, that, you know, we're amazed to see someone of that intellectual nature be able to fall to something like that. But it happens. Man, I didn't know you experienced that, man. Knew someone like that close, man.
Yeah.
Folks, see what the show can do, man.
But for real, the reason why I say that he was a role
That's
model too,
cool.
because not only did he go through all the schooling that he went to, but he was black. He married a black woman. That ain't had nothing to do with it. It's just the fact that even though in my eyes I seen him to be all the way up here, but when I found out that he struggled with crack, I didn't bring him down.
Yeah, right. All right.
I still seen this dude not wanting to do this stuff. I seen him struggle with it. I seen him, push, push, yeah, yeah. So that's one guy, man. Probably the role model that I have had, and I had a lot of talk to that dude, man, about school, about money, stuff like that. Well, probably my greatest role model always been my dad, man. Me and my dad always had a good, open, verbal relationship where we able to talk. One thing my dad always allowed me to do, even when I did something wrong, he would allow me to tell him what I was thinking when I was doing what I did. Before he punished me, he like, okay, now what were you thinking? You tell me what you were thinking. So, and I learned that from him, and I used that method with my sons. So, yeah, yeah, man. I had a lot, man. Lot, man. Lot, yeah. Lot of men that I've admired. That left little nuggets for me to live off of, and I didn't know hack up later.
Yeah. Amazing how life can do that, man.
Yeah. Let's get to the last one, man. Mentoring.
Mentor.
In our culture, mentoring is one of the things that we do indirectly.
Mm-hmm.
We don't set mentors in our lives too often. Matter of fact, to be able to have a mentor, you have to be openly, brutally honest with your mentor and with yourself. A mentor is a person don't really take control over your life. They kind of give you an overview of your own aspect of who you are and what you're doing. A lot of times, what should be a mentor should be your dad. A mentor should be your grandfather. A mentor should be and could be your uncle, could be your neighbor that live in the same building as you, who's older with wisdom. A lot of times, our mentors should not idols, but should be somebody that we can see a role model in their lives.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same sense. When I think of mentors, I think of the first syllables that actually make it up, which is mental, man. They're there to change your thinking. That's what it should be, very direct. It's to help you to, like you was talking about, that overview, which is the main part of actually thinking clearly through a situation. Basically, people say they actually seek out mentors for different areas in their lives because that person probably more than likely has found success in those areas. Like the uncle I mentioned, he was a great role model for me actually taking an instance of self-discipline to say no to certain things. But it's probably, as far as marriage, probably wouldn't be a great mentor to go to. He had his demons in that area to say, but it's kind of funny because when you brought up the topic, in my mind went to that as distinguishing the difference between the two, because real often we don't think that there's a difference between the two. We kind of put it all in the same bucket, but that's what it means. That's what I get from mentors, basically. It's not there to kind of like force you to do something, but like you said it perfectly, brother. Like, to see an overview, which is basically for me to think clearly about what I'm doing, where I'm heading, and what the result may be, or more than likely will be. I think what mentors really are. You can see it, even in basketball. You mentioned about LeBron. Um, I wonder if he, actually sought out, mentors that were older players that actually kind of gave him the character that he's actually carried himself now. Like where he picked that up from. It'll be amazing if he did develop that by himself, but probably very unlikely. He came into the league young, right out of high school. He came out of high school, right? Yeah. So, mentor, probably got a hold to him. But, like I haven't done a lot of researching on LeBron, but, like I say, you mentioned him before. I can't say that, I've actually heard anything negative in the media on it. And you're absolutely right. I mean, you're the number one basketball player in the world. If anybody's going to catch dirt on anybody, I'm not going to let dirt on LeBron sit while I go for, Carmelo Anthony head. I'm going to get LeBron. So,
dirt on a celebrity in this country is money.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, that's what I think of a mentor, man. It's really there to change the thinking or to get the person to think clearly about what they're actually seeking on. And you're right. You should find, I didn't find it with my father. I didn't even find it with my grandfather. They both absent in my life coming up. But, I'm trying to be that for my kids, my daughter and my son, and will be, because you're right. That's where it should start at. But, I had to find mines outside of that. But, through some praying, they came into my lives, But, I'm in belief that a mentor has to be someone that you actually can have verbal conversation with, because that's what's going to change your thinking. Mentors can also be, what I've actually learned, could be not present, because they could be an actual author catching you through a book, which actually changed your thinking. So I'm also thinking books as mentors as well, where people that have written a book may not know that they're a mentor to me, but through their book, they actually are mentoring me because they're actually changing my thinking. So, in that case, the thought of a mentor broadens for me, in my opinion.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. So I'm gonna wrap it up, man. That was real insightful, man. I appreciate that, man. You don't know it, man. You one of my mentors, man.
Bruh, you only want to get me started over here.
man. I mean, no, for real, man. The way some of the others and stuff you be pulling out these books, man. You be giving me some thunder moments, man. I appreciate it, man. But to wrap this thing up, man, the reason why I brought these three aspects up, man, because really, if you want to become a better person, if you want to be a better man, a stronger man, mentally, emotionally, physically, this is where you got to start it. See, the superhero thing when you're a child is because it puts a vision of yourself inside of you. You start seeing yourself as being a hero. You start seeing yourself as getting that cat out the tree, helping that old lady cross the street, bringing that old lady groceries when nobody else would. You start seeing yourself as a hero from a small kid before all the trials of life start challenging you. There's a part of you that want to be great. There's a part of you that want to do good. There's a part of you that wants to be pleasing to the society and the people around you. Yeah. Then the second part, role models, role models, role models. If you can't identify a role model, then that's a handicap. If you can't find a role model in your own life, that's a handicap. Because not only is the desire to do good, not only is the desires to be great is inside of you, was implanted inside of you, but the handicap part of it is not being able to see it in real life form. To not see somebody being able to walk it out in front of your eyes, to show you that it's possible. See, sometimes it ain't that we can't do these things. Sometimes we just haven't seen it in action. You know, the things, the same high that you get from a chemical imbalance in your body, you get the same high from doing good works, good deeds. The euphoria that hit your brain, the chemicals that release in your brain from doing drugs, release the same way from doing good deeds in the natural flesh. There's a goodness that you feel about yourself. There's a high. You walk on cloud 9 just by doing good deeds all day. Now you can cash out me for that one. That's a free. Not only is role model important, as you starting to imitate what you seen imitated before you, somebody else is watching. So now you become a role model. Now you sowing seeds inside of somebody else. And then lastly, but not least, the mentorship. See, you can be mentored so long. The good thing about having a mentor is that it lessens the blow when things go wrong.
Wow. It
helps you to be able to get back on your feet when you don't know what to do in a situation. Just like in the Black Panther when he went to summons up his father. Just like on the Lion King when Simba went and ran and he had to look in the water and he seen his father when he seen the reflection in the water and his father. You know what I'm saying? Like inside of you, that mentorship, that somebody mentoring you, at one point, you're going to be able to mentor somebody else. You're going to be able to give somebody insight. You're going to be able to help somebody along their way. See, that's what makes a boy a man and a man a Superman. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't the ability to have all the money in the world, because all the money in the world ain't going to solve all the problems in the world. But you being great and you being you touching every person that you can touch with love and kindness and goodness, that's going to enable somebody else to do the same thing. That's just the way it works. That's the power that we all have. That's what makes us all super. But if we never tap into that, we never use it, then it just leaves us to be a man. That's the show for the day, G.
Yo,
man. So we all...
Yes, sir.
trying to be great, man. We're trying to make ourselves better. So I want to encourage you, brothers, man. You know what I'm saying? And all that's going on in the world around us, it's the things that's inside of us that make us great.
That's right. That's right. Right.
It's the Banner Brother Podcast Show. I'm your boy Duke. Boy, I got my brother G Money with me.
Yo.
That's our show for tonight, man. Let's get back into this thing, G. I believe we can have an effect, have an impact, man.
Yeah, we will, man. We will.
All right, man, let's get out of here. In case you feel like you in the need of getting high, riding that cloud nine, go do some good, man. Show somebody some love. That's all you got to do.
Deeds.
Then if that high get low, just repeat the cycle again. All right, man, that's our show for tonight. Hit them with the information, G.
Yo, you know what it is. You can always reach us, Banner Brothers, at 678-435-9076. Again, that phone number is 678-435-9076, where you can leave a voicemail, leave us something. Let us know what you're doing in your community to become a Superman or woman in your community, or what it means to you, or any other show that you actually want to comment on. Let us know what your thoughts are, all right? We are so eager to hear from you. You can also reach out to us through email if you're shy with your voice, through at Gmail, Banner Brothers, spelled with a Z, pod, bannerbrodherspod@gmail.com, all right? Can't wait to hear from you guys, and stay tuned for the next episode, all right?